right, Nick, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. To the team, I would say they had a pretty good finish to the season. Overall, the season not satisfactory, I would say, but winning 4 out of your last 5 games has got to feel good. 3 divisional opponents you beat there. But I think the team overall just needed an overhaul, especially on the offensive side of the ball. That's why they move off Carmichael, and now they've got an excellent new potential. It's not official yet, but replacement for Carmichael. Let's get into the article and then we can talk about it on the other side. This from NBC Sports. It says the Saints cannot make it official until after the Super Bowl, but they have reportedly found their next offensive coordinator. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, New Orleans is working to hire San Francisco passing game coordinator Clint Kubiak for the role. Kubiak working next week's game in Las Vegas means the Saints have to hold off on making an announcement. Kubiak, 36, joined the 49ers after 1 year as the Broncos passing game coordinator and quarterback coach. He spent the previous 3 seasons with the Vikings as the QB's coach from 2019 to 2020 and then offensive coordinator in 2021. The son of former Texas and Denver Broncos head coach Gary Kubiak, Clint also coached for Denver from 2016 to 2018 as an offensive assistant. Now, Nick, I think there's a lot of tie-ins here. I think this is a great hire. Curious what your thoughts are on this one, but let us know in the comments below, Saints fans. This not official yet, unofficially official. So, you have time to give your opinion one last time. Is this the guy? Is this get you excited about the offensive side of the ball for the Saints? Or is there somebody else you're secretly hoping they switch to at the last minute? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what do you think about the potential hiring of Kubiak?
Finally, ever since Sean Payton left New Orleans, there has been a lot of very, I'll say, curious, interesting, and in the end, disappointing moves by the leadership of the Saints. And for a long time, we've been talking about the Saints. I say a long time. It's felt like a long time watching the Saints play football. But over the past couple seasons, we've been watching the Saints and the team that's got talent in a lot of positions. They've got a great home field advantage in a very winnable division, and they've underperformed. They haven't been disastrous. Their records are fine. They're better than obviously they're probably about average, a little above average if you look at the past 2 seasons. But they've disappointed based on their talent level on the field. And this team has a lot of talent. Look at the offense. Kamara, Olave, Thomas, Williams. They've got guys on offense that can make a lot of big plays and put up a lot of points. They've got talent on defense as well. I think the defense is fine for the most part, with a few exceptions here and there. But this is a team that has just struggled to maximize that talent. Derek Carr has his issues, but he's more than enough to be a capable quarterback in the National Football League. He's proved it. But under Carmichael, it was clear this offense was really just trending down. The guy to replace Carmichael had to be a guy from a proven system, from a proven methodology. And there is one system in the NFL that has proven itself to be better and more consistently creating outstanding assistant coaches and later head coaches than the Kyle Shanahan system with the San Francisco 49ers. Don't believe me? Let's look at the numbers. This past season, in terms of yards per completion, I love yards per completion as a statistic because to me it shows, okay, how many big plays are you generating on average in your offense, which I think has a lot to do with your scheme and your coaching and things like that. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. Number 2, Houston Texans, Bobby Slowick's their offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan system. Number 3, Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel's their offensive guy. Where's he from? Kyle Shanahan. If you look at where the New Orleans Saints rank, 25th in the NFL, and that's with a lot of talent. That doesn't get it done. Let's look at yards per attempt. Another statistic I like. It speaks a little bit more of efficiency along with the big plays you generate. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel from Kyle Shanahan. Unfortunately, the Houston Texans aren't 3, but they're 4. Offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, again, Kyle Shanahan. The New Orleans Saints, with all that talent, finished 18th. The Denver Broncos, with all of their offensive issues, we talked about it all season, finished higher in yards per attempt than the New Orleans Saints. That's inexcusable. This was the right move to bring in a guy from the Shanahan system. I believe in Clint Kubiak. We talked about him earlier this offseason as one of the sneaky under-the-radar candidates to be an offensive coordinator. I love that the Saints picked him up. This was the big move the Saints had to make this offseason, and they went out and did it. Great job.
Yeah, Nick, and you talk about leaving of Sean Payton from the Saints, but in a sense, in their current iteration, not their current, but their last iteration that we have saw on the field, it's almost like he didn't really leave. Nothing had changed except for Sean Payton had gone. They kept all of these guys around. They didn't really make any changes. Carmichael's been around the team for such a long time. I just think the offense, they just lived off of Sean Payton was a great coach. He had a great offensive schemes. He was able to get these players to do a lot of great stuff. Well, we can just live off of that and live off the talent and schemes that he brought this team. Not the case because Sean Payton is a special coach for a certain reason. Carmichael wasn't able to get the job done. They move off of him. And now I'm thinking we're going to see what the Saints are actually capable of with all this talent. People have been writing off Michael Thomas for a long time now, saying, maybe he's washed up. Well, let's get him under a new, fresh offensive coordinator who's actually going to change some stuff. I think this is the iteration of the Saints that people should get excited for. We all thought maybe when Peyton left, maybe that iteration of the Saints would be exciting, would be a little bit more interesting. Not the case. And everyone, if you look back, if you take your blinders off, you kind of see why, because nothing really changed and you just lost a lot of talent at the top end. Now you're adding some talent in, adding some diversity, some new schemes, a lot of new options for this Saints offense. With all the weapons, as you alluded to, I think there's going to be some big changes in New Orleans. I would be expecting a huge jump in offensive production this coming season because, the Saints, they have a lot of great players on the defensive side of the ball. Very good defensive side of the ball as far as the talent there. If we get this offense going, if, the offense can at least be as well as they were at the end of the season. We look how bad they beat the Falcons. Falcons aren't the best team in the world, but they were rolling on offense. If we can get them consistently get going on offense, I think this Saints team is going to be dangerous. And it's not too hard to win the NFC South, so I think they have a pretty good chance of doing it.
And Miles, one of the things to focus on, and you brought up a great point, is that when Carmichael took over the reins as offensive coordinator fully with Sean Payton leaving, the offense didn't change. It didn't adapt. And that's one of the things you have to do as an offensive coordinator. And if you're designing schemes and setting up players to be successful, Shanahan and his acolytes have a system, but they tweak it. They change it all the time. For a long time, for example, Shanahan in San Francisco hated the shotgun. He does it a lot more these days. For a long time, Shanahan in San Francisco really focused on more two tight end sets, right? That's a lot of times what a lot of formations they like with under the Shanahan scheme. But they've shifted to more three wide receiver sets sometimes, right? They adapt to what defenses do to counteract the offense. That's honestly what Sean Payton did his long tenure with the New Orleans Saints. But Carmichael hasn't. He's been just static, and it's been so frustrating. Their offense was okay in 2022. You look at the numbers, they're actually top 10. But the problem was going to 2023, it was the exact same scheme. It was the exact same designs. It was the exact same concepts with, frankly, a lot of the exact same skill players. Defenses aren't stupid in the National Football League. Defensive coordinators aren't dumb. They get paid millions of dollars for a reason. They watch the film, they study the schemes, and like, oh, we can scheme this out. We can beat this easily. And all season long, in big moments, the Saints didn't have an answer. And you brought up a great point that at times the Saints' talent allowed them to overwhelm opponents. The Falcons are a great example. But I look back at that Rams loss late in the season that was obviously basically it didn't eliminate the New Orleans Saints, but it put them in a really desperate situation. They were just out-coached. They were out-schemed. Outside of that long passing play, they couldn't do much on offense to the very end of the fourth quarter. Right? That's coaching. You have talent. The Rams are a good team. No discredit to the Rams, but they're not an elite team. It wasn't like you were playing the 85 Bears out there. They were playing indoors in the Los Angeles, right? It should have been a great offensive game for the New Orleans Saints. Big-time moment. But they really struggled because they're out-coached. And this is exactly why bringing in Kubiak is the perfect hire. They need a guy to maximize their talent and, more importantly, make things easier for Derek Carr. Every time I watched Derek Carr 2023, it felt like it was hard. It felt like nothing was easy. It was he either had to sit in the pocket and deliver a deep throw down the field and then yell at receivers because there's a miscommunication, or check it down. Let's do a simple play action bootleg, hit a tight end or receiver over a crossing pattern that the Shanahan system is famous for, and move on. CJ Stroud's a great player. Tua's a great player. Brock Purdy's a great player. There's a reason they're all great players from all of them from the Shanahan scheme, because it makes it easy for quarterbacks to be successful. That's what the Saints missed in 2023. They're going to have it in 2024, and because of that, I think they're going to be a lot better. If I had to put a futures bet down now, if you look at the NFC South, Carolina Panthers, dumpster fire. Atlanta Falcons, like a lot of their coaching hires, quarterback position looks like it could be really, really bad, right? And then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do I really trust Baker Mayfield now that he's lost his offensive coordinator? I don't really think so. If I had to put a futures bet right now, the New Orleans Saints win the NFC South in 2024. This move right here is exactly what the Saints needed, and they got it done.